Welcome to Anime Sub Yeah, one of the first, maybe the last time I do this, probably not. Today I'm going to do a quick little, well probably not quick, but an overview of Future Diary. First off, I gotta say, that opening, that's epic. That is an epic opening. It's... Well, it might not be your favorite anime of 2011, but that opening is awesome. It's so good. They put a lot of work into it. It's so good. It foreshadows everything. Like, every time you watch an episode, you see, like, new people come in, and you're like, oh my god, that relates to that person, and that relates to that person. It's amazing. Okay, first off, I liked it. It was good. I liked it. It wasn't, like, my favorite anime of all time, but I liked it nonetheless. Boom! Look, my eyes are back. So yeah, like I was saying, it was good. Like, I didn't regret seeing it. It's not like, oh my god, it's my favorite anime of all time. Like, there are flaws with it. It's not perfect, but most anime aren't perfect. You can pretend like they are, but they're not. I like the characters. The girl in particular is creepy as my blue tongue. She's so scary. In episode 3, yeah, I remember the exact episode it happened in. Episode 3, the very, very end. The very, very end. He finds a bunch of corpses. Watch out, spoilers! You really shouldn't be watching reviews if you don't want to be spoiled, by the way. Just my logic. Okay, at the very, very end, he finds corpses. And he's like, oh god, I gotta run, this bitch is crazy. Something like that. And, he hides, and he's just like hovering for a little bit, like right in front of his front door. And this might sound odd, but this is the scariest, creepiest part in the anime, is when she says good night through the little mail hatch. I don't remember what it's called right now, because it's 5 in the morning. Her eyes just peering through, just wanting to say good night. Yuki, that is scarier and more messed up than the countless body count. That by itself is the essence of what I think should be creepy. It's not like trying to disturb you with like creepy imagery, even though it's kind of creepy. It's more tense, like it's really tense, like, oh god, this is freaky, I don't like this. Where it's like, there's other parts where you're like, oh, well, what about the parts with the dart in the eye and stuff, and all the other gross parts? Like, those didn't bother me. It's a little, a girl, a stalkerish girl that comes to your house and says good night, that fucks me up. Don't know why, it's just that the way they handled it scared me shitless. And that's one of the parts I love about it, actually, is that scene. But now that I've given it a compliment, I guess I have to go on a fault. One of the faults I find with this is that it tries to overcomplicate things. It could be a relatively simple story of just wanting to be God and do all these things, but they kind of over-the-top complicate it. And, I'm sorry if you haven't watched it, because I'm going to spoil the end right here, is that there's 3 worlds at the end. It's like that Higurashi thing, where it's like, oh, there's a second world, where it's more than 2 worlds in Higurashi. It's like, oh, we have different chances to make things happen. And it's like, oh, okay, well, whatever. And another flaw that I find with it is that if she's from the first world where all this has happened, she should know who to trust and what to do to get Yuki's like attention and get Yuki to like her and stuff. But it's like, well, you can say like, well, it's that this world has a different time. There's different things happening. I don't know. She should just know. It's like, come on, why wouldn't you know what's going to happen? You should know what's going to happen. Because pretty much everything that was happening with that was the same. He said like, oh, there's some slight alterations. I don't think the alterations would have been that huge that she couldn't like predict everybody's movements and get them all killed ASAP and know what to do with Yuki. That's just me. It's extremely complicated, like I said, and I don't want to be thinking about this anymore because it's overdone. But once again, I gotta say, I didn't hate it. Would it be my top 10? I don't know. I don't even know my top 10 anime. I just know One Piece and Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood are in it. It's not... I wouldn't say... I'd say those two got this one beat. But it's still a good anime. I want to emphasize it, but I'm not going to say it's amazing and everybody's going to love it, because there's going to be people that don't like it. And I know people that don't like it. I don't know them personally, but I know them on the internet, because they bitch a lot. Sorry, internet. Like, I've heard once that, oh, the anime, it starts out so great, but after, like, episode 9 or 8 or whatever, it goes downhill. And, like, I watched it. There's not very much of a change in episode 8, 9, or 10 that makes it go, whoa, whole 360. That's, like, later at the end, which I should talk about later. And, what is so bad about those episodes? What's the intermediate part where you're like, oh, I gotta get out of this is not my thing? You watch, like, the first 2 or 3 episodes, you know what you're in for. You shouldn't be all freaked out. This isn't the martial arts where everything goes to hell. This is a little bit, like, it's complicated, but it stays, at least, like, somewhat comprehensible, unlike martial arts. Now for the ending. I don't know. I think people want more, like, people were all pissy about the ending, and I'm just like, oh, well, did you want, like, them to get together or something? Like, I don't know. Like, is that what you wanted, or did you want them to follow the manga? Because I heard that they took the last 10 pages out, and they didn't put it in. And, whatever. That's not my problem with the ending of the anime. The problem with my problem with the end of the anime is that its morals are shit. They're absolutely shit. He's such a hypocrite. It's not even funny. Like, let me tell you. He says, like, oh, kill me, make a new world, you can do it, I believe in you, and all that shit, blah, blah, blah. She kills herself. Sorry. Spoilers, once again. And he's like, oh, I can't go on living, I don't want to make another world without you know. And it's like, what the fuck? You just told her to do that exact same thing, and her not to be depressed about it, and then you're being all depressed about it. Bunch of bullshit. It's like, oh, I can't go on. It's like, the moral of the story should be that you can go on. No, I can't ruin another anime, I'm sorry. I was almost bad territory. It's kind of like if this, it's like, let's say, like, she's like, oh, I cannot live without you. And it's like, you can, please. It's like, no, I'll just sit there in the universe forever and just, like, do nothing. It's like, oh, you won't. Yes, I will. No, you won't. You would do the same thing in that situation. No, I wouldn't. She stabs herself. Nah. It's such hypocritical bullshit. I hate it. And I hate the moral. It's just like, if you wait long enough... Well, actually, that would work. If you wait for the right time, you'll meet your special someone. But you already met a special someone. So, the moral of this story is that if you wait long enough, and you are a god, and you just sit for 10,000 years, your loved one will come back to you. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Just because your little life is gone to hell doesn't mean you can't create a new world and make everybody else happy. No, it's all about me. I'm so selfish. I'm so selfish. Okay, I'm a writer myself, and I have to take into account moral. This moral is shit. It's absolute shit. Now, sometimes stories don't even, like, try to have morals, but there's always a little moral into stories. It's like, oh, that story has slightly moral. People put too much information, like, they think, oh, let's read into this so deep that it has a moral. This one, I'm not trying to read deep into it. This is just what I feel like it was trying to have a moral. It was trying, and I was like, oh, well, and then they just scrapped it. I don't even care. It's just like, nope. Throw that out the window. Well, I'd go on. and I'd ramble some more. I said a lot of bad things about it, but there's a lot of good things about it. The action is really good. The characters are all fun. I didn't mention, like, Ninth, or I didn't even talk about the main character, really. Ninth is a fun character. She gets her eye poked out, and she's always doing crazy shit because she's a terrorist. And the main character is kind of lame. Yeah. Kind of lame. He's not like from the guy from Reborn, where he's like, oh, he's such a puss, but he gets awesome later. Everything that's awesome that Yuki tries to do, I keep almost forgetting his name. Yuki has like a little script that Yuno writes for him, so it's like, oh, that's his fake bullshit. And the fact that he can't even get his morals straight at the end proves that it's complete bullshit. At least in Reborn. Okay, now I'm going into other subs that you probably... Wait, you watch other subs? I thought you only watched dubs. Yeah, I kind of just do. But I watched the sub because people were like, oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so terrible. My brother watched it. I don't remember what it's called in Japanese. I call it Future Diary, so that's Future Diary. If you like that kind of stuff, like romantic or dark, edgy, or the fighting's good too. If I liked it, I mean, you might think less of me because I like it, you might think better of me because I like it, but I like it. There are flaws, there are things I don't like the moral is complete and utter shit. Do not listen to that moral. Don't listen to that moral. Shit. But I still enjoyed it. It was still a fun ride. It does tend to get slightly worse at the very end, but that's just because probably that moral killed me. I'm sorry, it just ripped the idea of a game and people that wanted to be God. I think that's a great idea for a story right there, but you have to go the extra step beyond, don't you? And I know how that is. Always wanting to go one more step beyond, making it a little bit more complicated but more interesting. And you can do that if you do it right. This one, depending on your taste, they could have done it right or they could have done it wrong. In my case, they did it wrong. And I keep saying I'm going to end it, but I don't end this review. And that's Anime Subbia. And I would recommend it sometime in your anime lifetime that you check it out. But it's good. It's good. I liked it. There's people that are gonna hate it, and the people are gonna watch this and think, oh, it must be okay, or something, and totally hate it or totally love it. It's just your taste. This one's really just based on taste. People are like, oh, anime of the year, and oh, it's horrible. So, you should check it out. Out. ユキを見てたからほらユキ